the ultimate goal of the yoga and meditation system. Why, after many births and deaths, you would think that it should be very easy to understand Krishna. If indeed Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, it should be a snap to understand. We're so accustomed to everything being instant. We don't understand the effort required to understand the supreme cause of all causes. So at first, you're attracted to some vague concept. It's not really attraction. It's just kind of the result of your curiosity. There must be something beyond all this. There must be something beyond things that have a beginning and end. There must be something beyond temporary happiness and distress. So what could it be? It must be the spiritual energy. It must be the oneness. In Swansea last night, we had a few old-timer non-dualists, as they refer to the phenomena. Isn't it all about just the oneness, the sameness? You would think that, based on your experience in this body, in this life. And also, Krishna says, based on your experience in many lifetimes. That's why Krishna says, after many births and deaths, the wise person starts to understand that the varieties of Krishna, Krishna's name, form, qualities, and activities have nothing to do with the material energy. It takes many births normally to realize that, because at first you're so shell-shocked by what you experience in material life with all its temporary individuality, temporary personalities, temporary activities and forms. You're so shell-shocked that you conclude perfection must mean no variety, no activities, no forms, no qualities. Because you feel sufficiently experienced. You've been there, done that. And so now you have speculated your way to what you think is the ultimate conclusion. Oneness, sameness. But there are a lot of problems with that conclusion. First of all, it's the product of a material brain. I've experienced misery with material personalities, material forms, material qualities and activities. So, the perfection must be no forms, no activities, no qualities, no individuality. This is why people have a problem with Krishna. One lady last night in Swansea was hinting that there are various cultures throughout the world, and they have their various personalities with their qualities and activities, Krishna being one of them. But should you be speaking about something beyond all that pageantry, beyond all that colorful, cultural stuff? How about something generic, like the whatever? How about something more universal? In other words, how can Krishna's name, form, qualities, and activities be universal? It seems so sectarian because it's so specific. Shouldn't something universal be just vague and qualityless, no distinctions, no variety. Many people have thought this for millennia, for countless centuries. People have, with their active brains, concluded. Beyond all the various personalities of this world and beyond, there must be something personalityless and qualityless. In other words, they've got a grudge, they've got a problem, they've got issues with variety. Like a cow that's been in a barn that's caught on fire. It's very difficult to put that cow in another barn, because every time the cow sees a barn, it thinks fire. So we're like that. We think that I've experienced problems caused by relationships and bodies and personalities and qualities and forms. So therefore, the supreme absolute truth should be formless, qualityless, activityless. Something that's just bland, without any colorful activity or qualities, which would cause division, because people of different cultures would focus on different varieties of the theistic experience. But wouldn't it be better just to get beyond all that stuff and just embrace the universal oneness? So we can go deeper in our analysis of the problem. Yes, number one, people have a problem with variety beyond the material plane, because they think they know it all. Implicit in their presentation is pride. I know. They're assuming that anytime there's personality, individuality, form, and quality activities, it must be material. This is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, after many births and deaths, the Jnani, the metaphysical speculator, finally gets over his or her issues, his or her hang-ups, and understands that everything about Krishna is beyond the material energy. It's almost like people don't want Krishna to exist. Why? Why would you think that's so? Krishna's enjoyment embarrasses us. Our attempts to enjoy are so puny and so filled with errors. But when we hear about Krishna's enjoyment, we hear about pleasure that's unlimitedly flawless, with not the slightest blemish or problem. So we don't want Krishna to exist because it's too embarrassing for us. We're envious. You can remember when you were envious of someone? You resented that person's abilities. You resented that person's achievements. And even worse, hopefully you didn't do this, you tried to drag the person down or plot against the person, do something to put that person in his or her real place. So we do that in relation to Krishna. We don't want to hear about Krishna. It must be mythology, the supreme enjoyer. Of course, if someone promised to make us the supreme enjoyer, oh yes, now this is real spiritual life. So let's consider how Krishna is a problem. You can't feel sorry for Krishna. like you can for an old man with a beard who sits on a throne and throws thunderbolts down at sinners. You can't feel sorry for Krishna. Feeling sorry and compassionate means you're in the superior position. But Krishna's enjoyment is flawless. There's nothing for us to feel sorry for Krishna about. It's not that Krishna needs us to go to church every Sunday and sing hymns. How great you are. Krishna doesn't need it. So then why are we always chanting Hare Krishna? As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Satatam Kirtayantam. The Bhakti Yogi is always chanting Krishna's glories. So you might think, well, it must be because Krishna needs it. Krishna's insecure. He needs us to give him some self-esteem. No, by always chanting Krishna's glories, we benefit. So let's continue to discuss this problem people have with Krishna. I've been thinking about it since last night. The topic that was arranged in Swansea was Ask the Swami. So I could see that that topic attracted quite a few elderly, metaphysical, theosophical type speculators. Advaita Vedanta, non-dual. There's a problem that's twofold in relation to impersonalism as the spiritual goal. The problem is, number one, it's very difficult to make progress on the impersonal path because you have nothing to focus on that's attractive. And the illusory existence of Maya, the material world, is falsely attractive. So what can you focus on that is truly attractive? On the impersonal path, there's nothing. You're just meant to leave aside the false attractiveness of material existence and then focus on what is inconceivable, indescribable. So there's difficulty in the process, and there's also difficulty when you reach, which is very rare, when you reach the end of that impersonal process. It's a phase that you can pass through on your way to Krishna. Krishna has his impersonal manifestation, his impersonal aspect, just like you have an impersonal aspect. How many of you can remember acting impersonally? Maybe you gave someone the cold shoulder, you pretended the person didn't exist. Ladies know how to do that, right? Drives the guys crazy. So, it's a person that can act impersonally. The impersonal is based on a person. Just an example. The real proof is Krishna's own explanation in Bhagavad Gita. Analogies are not the ultimate proof. Analogies help us to grasp the ultimate truth, but the ultimate truth is Krishna's own description of himself. Brahmanari Pratistham. I am the basis of the impersonal. The impersonal is based on me, the person. So ideally, someone who is attached to the impersonal understanding of spirituality is meant to make further progress passing through that impersonal haze to arrive at focus upon Krishna. So it's very rare that someone will actually make their way through all that haze, that fog. But if they do, they still have a problem. The second half of the problem is they've been so attached to that impersonal understanding that it's difficult for them to give it up, even when they hear about Krishna. They become attached. To the impersonal conception, even though it's done them no happiness, but it does give relief from distress. So people become attached to that. I'm not feeling distress anymore. I'm feeling relief from material existence. That must be the ultimate. But no. The ultimate is pure, perfect relationship with Krishna. So we should never consider that relief from material distress is the main goal of our spiritual life. It's actually just an accessory, peripheral, very subordinate. The bhakti yogi is actually not aiming for relief from material distress, although in the beginning, yes, it's like that. But as you advance in devotional service, as you advance in chanting Hare Krishna, your natural self starts to emerge. And what is that natural self? Simply you want to satisfy Krishna. It sounds strange to us that we want to satisfy someone other than ourselves. When you think of satisfaction, you immediately think to yourself, yeah, what would satisfy me? Who's satisfying me now? Who will satisfy me tomorrow? But bhakti transforms that pollution into reality. How can I satisfy Krishna? I'm part of Krishna. If I satisfy Krishna, automatically I'm included. So you might ask the question, why are people so attached to this impersonal concept? A lot of it is because of envy. When you're envious about someone, you don't want to hear about that person. You want that person to disappear. If you had an eraser that could have rubbed that person out of existence, you'd use it. So, consciously or unconsciously, we're like that in relation to Krishna. It's too threatening for us to admit there could be a supreme enjoyer, because that makes us look really bad. Because everyone's working so hard to enjoy. And here, we're being presented with the supreme enjoyer. I remember in my days of first starting to practice bhakti, I wasn't staying at the temple. As many of you know, I was ordering all my books from the publisher through the post, so I wouldn't have to have anything to do with devotees. And I was reading them at home. So I had a Krishna book, and at that time, on the front page, one of the front pages of the Krishna book was just the words, Krishna is a supreme enjoyer. So I remember showing it to one of my university friends. She took the book and just opened it and started flipping through the pages, and she came to one of those front pages. Krishna, the supreme enjoyer. I just slammed it shut. That's our job. We are so hungry for enjoyment that we cannot tolerate Krishna having any enjoyment. When actually our natural position is to assist in Krishna's pleasure, and automatically we are satisfied. In fact, the devotee enjoys more than Krishna. Therefore, Krishna comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to taste what it's like to be a devotee. And in that way, Krishna is still the supreme enjoyer. You all know that. So again, consider why people have this problem with Krishna. It's like they want to rub him out of existence. No, basically, like last night they were saying, some of them were saying, come on, Swami, let's talk about non-duality. Non-difference. Let's get beyond all this cultural pageantry and colorful stuff like Krishna, his form, his activities. Let's be adults here. We're not kids. You don't need to focus on all the Krishna variety. But there's another way you can screw yourself up and confuse yourself. You could say, yes, there is Krishna, his name, form, qualities, and activities. You can focus on them as a material prop until you're strong in your meditation, and then you push it all aside and just you and non-duality. That's another way to go about it. Yes, you'll find in India especially, the West also, some persons will chant the Maha Mantra. And they'll say, yes, Krishna, of course. But they're thinking that this is just a meditational device, like a portal to the non-duality. That's why in India they have the Panchapashika system. Pick any of 5 focuses for your meditation, because it's so difficult to meditate on what is impersonal and void. So pick Brahma, Shiva, Durga, Vishnu, Ganesh, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Whatever gets you through the night. And then once you build up your meditational powers, you push it all aside and it's just the oneness. So people think that's very advanced. They're afraid of anything that resembles some cultural color and cultural flair. Krishna playing the flute. Do you really think that's absolute? Ultimate cause of all causes? Come on, really? The little blue boy. But the more you hear about Krishna, the more you realize that nothing compares with Krishna's pleasure. He does, as I often point out, he does all the things you'd want to do, but he has no problems doing. You like to sport with your friends. You like to be a teenager and dance with the most attractive girls in existence. You like to do that, but when Krishna does it, oh, mythology. When you do it, oh, this is real. This is what I've been waiting for. So this is why we have a problem with Krishna. He does everything we would want to do, and he does it unlimitedly and without the slightest problem. In fact, with ever-increasing bliss. So if you're going to be envious of someone, it would seem Krishna is the number one object of envy, yes? He doesn't have to work for his pleasure. Who here, in their material pursuits, doesn't have to work for pleasure? You got to do some business or get some employment, go to university, study something, so that you'll have the financial resources to try and enjoy it. But Krishna never works for his pleasure. That's why, as I often explain, Krishna carries a flute to show that he's all play and no work. That's the most powerful impact you get when you see Krishna holding his flute. He's always with his flute to show that he's always enjoying. He never works for his pleasure. So we should think deeply why people have such a problem with Krishna. And then we can see what was our problem. If you're practicing the Bhakti Yoga system, you're getting over your issues with Krishna. You're allowing, first of all, you're allowing Krishna to exist. You're accepting that there is a supreme controller. That's a good beginning. Many of you never considered that before. That there's a Parameshwar, supreme controller. But that's only the beginning. Bhakti brings you further along, and you understand that not only is Krishna the supreme controller, but he is the supreme enjoyer. That is the most confidential understanding of a supreme. Just like someone may know, some of you at your work, in your office capacity. But others who are more confidential know you in your personal, intimate dealings. So simply understanding Krishna as a supreme controller is very elementary. It's like you're understanding the official capacity of Krishna, but not his inner personal glories. Once you accept that Krishna is a supreme enjoyer, then that affects all your attempts to enjoy. You realize you're being a fake. You can't compete. And why compete when it is our constitutional nature to serve Krishna, to assist in Krishna's pleasure? That's natural, that's organic. So Bhakti Yoga is about more than just not being an atheist or an agnostic. Bhakti Yoga is about more than being theistical, believing in God. Whether you believe in God or not, Krishna is enjoying unlimitedly. What do you think about that? What do you think about it? Krishna, not depending on whether you believe in him or not. His enjoyment is expanding unlimitedly. How do you cope with someone like that? Krishna's pleasure activities make our own attempts to have pleasure look so ridiculous, so pathetic even. We have our dances, we have our love affairs, we have our families, but it's all about a lot of hard work. Misunderstandings, bodies that are faulty and break down, minds that are faulty and break down. There's a lot of physical pain, mental pain, all in the pursuit of pleasure and happiness. So therefore we think that I've had so much experience suffering as a person. The ultimate reality means no person. Everything is impersonal. You think it's quite obvious that that's the case. That is one part of the reason, and the other part is just plain enviousness. Who is this Krishna? Who does he think he is? He's got unlimited pleasure, and still we're instructed to glorify him? Doesn't he have enough already? But it's our natural position to glorify Krishna and serve Krishna. We are his parts. Material existence is very artificial, in case you haven't noticed. You're trying hard, you're working hard to make things real, for real. But there's always so much phoniness and artificiality. The root of our artificiality is thinking we are the enjoyer. As soon as we act as the enjoyer, we are being totally synthetic, totally artificial. We're meant to assist Krishna, the complete whole, in his enjoyment. But we've got a rebellious spirit to us, like a teenager rebelling against the parents. How many of you did that? How many were rebellious teenagers? Oh, Chandra, you were rebellious teenagers? No matter what the parents said, you knew better, right? You were rebellious teenager. You always knew better than your parents, and they're just trying to ruin your pleasure. So we're like that in our dealings with Krishna. What does Krishna know? There's so many paths, so many books, so many holy persons. Why this emphasis on Krishna? Well, what would you like us to emphasize? Well, you know, the whatever. Whatever you like, you know. And then you say, all paths lead to the same goal. How many of you have said something like that? Yeah. Sounds deep for most people, right? Who did you tell that to, Pete? To Esther?
Not just other people, you know. It doesn't matter what direction where you go, you'll always end up in.
Do you ever think about what that means?
Not really.
It just sounds very deep to say, right?
Sounds good to say.
All roads lead to the same goal. Believe this, do that, this yoga, that religion, whatever. Yeah. It all winds up at the same point. Sounds quite nifty, doesn't it? But as I've explained before, when you say something like that, you're making an imaginary position for yourself, an imaginary vantage point. You're making like you are up in the air in a helicopter and you can see all roads converging to the same destination. Of course, people can't see that. They can't see all the paths are leading to the same goal. But they're implying that they have some kind of superior vantage point in which they're actually seeing that all paths lead to the same spiritual goal. They don't have that vantage point. They don't have that helicopter up in the air. So don't be bewildered when people say like that. Well, why do you stress Krishna so much? Isn't it being sectarian? But the essence of enjoyment is personal. So how can Krishna be the supreme enjoyer if he's not personal? He's showing you through his activities, through his qualities, through his forms, that enjoyment is personal, individual, full of personality, full of qualities and activities. He's showing that. How else are you going to experience bliss? Non-material happiness is found in relationships. Non-material relationships. That means relationships with Krishna. Without that, what's your plan for pleasure? Do you really think you're just going to relish and enjoy the whatever? You meet someone for the weekend and you invite them over to your place, or you go over to that person's place and, let's just talk about the whatever. It'll never happen. You'll just end up trying to establish a relationship with that person, although you deny relationships with Krishna. But you're forced to make relationships with that tiny, imperfect, temporary person. So this is why envy of Krishna forces us into so many ludicrous, crazy positions. Now you would think, shouldn't everyone be attracted to Krishna? You review the basic characteristics of Krishna that anyone should be able to understand. He's unlimitedly wealthy, unlimitedly beautiful, unlimitedly famous, unlimitedly strong, unlimitedly learned, and unlimitedly renounced. As we often point out, we have never met anyone like that. You can't even find someone who is unlimited in one of those 6 opulences. What to speak of all 6? When we start to understand that love and pleasure is all based on attraction, then we can start to appreciate Krishna more. When we say love is the ultimate, or God is love, we're really talking about attractiveness, because there's no such thing as love without attractiveness. Attraction has to be there, like between iron and some powdered iron and a magnet. In this way, the genuine yogis and meditators understand that they need to be dealing with the ultimate attraction, which means they're dealing with the ultimate love, which means they're dealing with relationships. So gradually, in our bhakti practice, we start to get over our paranoia, and we start to revive our attraction for Krishna. We want to hear, what is Krishna doing? What are his qualities? We're attracted to his devotees. We're attracted to food tasted by Krishna, mantras, presenting Krishna in sound. That all becomes attractive to us, becomes the core of our existence. So try to understand why people have a problem with Krishna. Immediately they want to put forward something else. You ask them, well, what, you got something better? No, but just not Krishna. If you say, hey, not Krishna, you must have something better in mind. Tell us what it is. Or you could, kind of in a condescending way, say, well, Krishna is a nice belief system. That sounds very liberal, yes? Very tolerant. Krishna is a very nice belief system. We appreciate all belief systems. Whatever gets you through life, You believe in Krishna. He believes in skiing. She likes scuba diving. Again, that's impersonalism in a very crude way. The whatever. If you can pursue the whatever through scuba diving, through Krishna, through Christianity, through skateboarding, it's all about just being with the flow, Allowing the universe to deliver what it wants to you. Some of us used to really eat up all this stuff. I often tell a story about, there was one very popular New Age writer, for a time being, not now, but some years ago. He was very popular. And he would just write the most vague, airy-fairy kind of stuff. And many persons were taking it so seriously. So he had I know one young lady in New Zealand who was very attached to this writer. Until she happened to take a trip to Hawaii and go to a pub there. And there in the pub was her cherished author, drinking with his friends. And he was getting loaded. And he was just telling his friends, I write such junk and everyone's buying it. The girl was totally shattered. He was drinking, he had too much to drink, and he was just roaring with laughter. I like this, the garbage I write. I can't believe how people read it. I'm making so much money. This was her hero, and she was just watching this, horrified. I flipped through one of his books once, and I remember one especially potent line. How do you judge what is an authentic spiritual path? How do you judge what is a bona fide, authorized spiritual system? Look for that path, that system that has the least amount of rules and regulations. Because, he explained, he was making a very deep point, rules and regulations press down on the shoulders and prevent you from floating up to the spiritual plane. It doesn't make any sense at all, but many people are thinking, wow, this is deep. The rules and regulations push down on you, preventing you from floating up spontaneously to the spiritual platform. So, people are foolish, we've been foolish, but we have contact, authorized knowledge, which teaches you that simply understanding the Supreme as a controller is just the beginning. You have to make further progress to understand the Supreme Enjoyer. Krishna's enjoyment is unlimited, and he wants you to share in it as an assistant. But we say, no, I have to be the Supreme Enjoyer, otherwise I'm on strike. Or you can compromise through arbitration and negotiation. Okay, Krishna, we all are the Supreme Enjoyer. We all are one. But to admit that you're subordinate, that you're meant to assist Krishna in his pleasure, that's humiliating, isn't it? We want to assert ourselves as being competent and expert, self-sufficient enjoyers. But we're failing so miserably. So the first real step, the first genuine step in yoga and meditation is to admit we are failures at enjoyment. What do you think? Our pride won't let us say that. No, I know what I'm doing. I made a few mistakes, a few blunders, but I'll keep marching on. I'll get it right one of these days. One of these days, I'll have everything I want, or almost everything I want. Good relationship, nice possessions, holidays, social respect, good sense gratification. Yeah, it'll all come one of these days. Material life means hope after hope that's never fulfilled. Now, if you're smart, you can catch this illusion, this mirage. You're allowed or facilitated to hope, but the hope is never fulfilled. But we're so attached to being able to hope. I can just see it now. I can enjoy it like this. I can get that. I can do this. It's so easy to hope, isn't it? But the fulfillment of those hopes is something else. But we're so lost in false hopes that we can't see. The hopes are never suitably fulfilled enough to satisfy us. So much of material happiness is about anticipation. If you want to know the fancy term, it's promissory materialism. Materialism that exists simply as a promise, but the goods are never delivered. But the promise is so great. It's so powerful and absorbing. We're living the promise lifetime after lifetime, although we never receive the goods. They never come. But we're lost in promised land. Oh yes, it'll be like this, it'll be like that. You will be like this, I will be like that. We will get this and we will get that. I will surround myself with my friends. I'll slaughter all my enemies. All right, maybe I won't slaughter them, but they'll be sent to a concentration. We're just living in dreams. And so, sometimes people think Bhagavad Gita is very intense. How many of you thought that when you first started reading Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, this is really intense, I mean. It's because it's shaking that illusion so effectively, and no one has ever done that before. We expected that Bhagavad Gita would give us kind of airy-fairy platitudes, spiritual in its own way, all the paths lead to the same goal, and all your attempts to materially enjoy, they're actually spiritual too. But no, this Bhagavad Gita rips all that apart and presents you the supreme positive of Krishna as a supreme enjoyment. So, this is why last night we had persons who, a few of them, in public, and some came up afterwards to me, explaining the glories of, they use the buzzwords, Advaita Vedanta, the Vedanta of non-difference, non-duality, as if they're attracted to that. They're not attracted because there's nothing to attract them. But you get a kind of false prestige. You get a kind of false prestige by saying such things. Although there's no realization and there's no attraction. So in bhakti, we're dealing directly with the principle and reality of attractiveness. Our spiritual practices are based on the fact that Krishna is unlimitedly attractive. This is why we're chanting Hare Krishna. 3 words over and over again. This is why we're offering our food to Krishna, offering our efforts to Krishna. And the more we do that, the more we're aware of Krishna's unlimited attractiveness. Then there can be relationship. Relationships are always based on attraction. Positive relationships, that is. And everything about Krishna is positive. So as Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, when you actually understand him in truth, you'll engage in devotional service. When you actually understand that Krishna is unlimitedly attractive, he's a supreme enjoyer, you'll engage in service as his assistant, assisting in Krishna's pleasure. That is the ultimate goal of yoga.